So this is a continuation of my best way to describe it, my bullet um, video game. I mean, not video game, but RPG video series at this point. Pretty much doing a bunch of videos today, covering different things that's happened in the last couple of weeks with gaming and con events. So this one here is going to be covering Brigade Con. And some things that happened before. So after the Oregon uh, convention, Oricon 36, I went over to my friend Emmy and Derek's house. Which has always been fun. We kind of named that place kind of like the mini con of Gresham and call it, Geekapalooza. Uh, I will be getting a T-shirt for that mini con. Thank you, Emmy, for that. And they exposed me to this game, Boss Monster. I absolutely love this game. This is one of the, it's basically you make a dungeon and then at that point you pretty much um, just setting your standard, 8-bit characters into the dungeon, see if you can kill them, and whoever kills off, forgot. Basically, after everybody dies, and if you're the only winner and you got the most points, you win. Um, so that was that, and then there's the expansion design, very similar to that of a Game Boy Advance um, box. So Brigade Con happened. I was in a total of 3 games, including the one I ran. So the first game happened at 3 o'clock in the morning where Robert Ogre hits me up and tells me that another GM, I believe, if I'm saying this right, AJ, needed someone to be in his D&D 5th Ed game. So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever, I can do this. So he ran me up a uh, 5th Ed Dragonborn, went in there. Um, People were worried that I was going to get the party killed within the first 5 minutes because basically what happened was one of the characters came out to me and told me, "Oh, well, these this elf is looking at you like he wants to kill you all menacing and whatnot." So what did my character do? I get up, I walk over to the table, which my character is usually the quiet one off in the corner because I'm Dragonborn. Most people are frightened of me. But if someone has malice in their eyes, I'm going to deal with this accordingly. So I go up to him, sit down at the table, and basically go through my little spiel of like, do I know you? Do we have some type of interaction? Did I sleep with your wife? That type of deal. And meanwhile, everyone's getting their weapons ready, thinking there's going to be some giant, you know, tavern brawl. And come to find out, they're like, "Do you know this person?" I'm like, "Nope, never heard of him in my life." But what are you looking for? Well, there's this stench that's coming from underground, and townspeople are missing. I'm like, sound like fun. So why? And we found out that the connection to the sewers is in this very tavern. So what do? I pretty much feed him, give him drink, and then I walk over to the barkeep and like, shut down the tavern. And he's like, "What? This tavern never closes. Stays open all the time." 150 gold. Close the tavern. He looks at the gold like, "Everyone out." And that basically begins the adventure. Um, we go into, of course, this typical dungeon crawl. Go through the process, fight some bad guys. Of course, my typical thing is burn it with fire and Rex style. So, um, did some acid damage uh, to the monster beforehand because I was a black dragonborn, and then another player threw liquor on him, and it basically went from there. And then we just set him on fire and killed them all dead like. And then we went down, um, further into the dungeon, of course, the other party that was with us, the NPC, mysteriously went the wrong way, and we wind up fighting a dragon, worm dragon. I guess is the best way for it. Like I said, I'm still new to fifth edition, so I don't have all the terminology down, but I know he was a basically evil black dragon worm. So he proceeded to try to kill us. I, in defense of the party, stand in front of the acid and absorbed it, so the party would not get killed. Our magic caster, who didn't really cast magic, which was kind of awesome, killed the thing with his rapier, and I took the dragon back and to get it skinned and get nice little cape and cowl. Go, yeah, cloak thing going on. So I come back from the dungeon, come back up the stairs, got the dragon over my arms. The whole tavern goes quiet. I look at the barkeep. The barkeep, what in the hell is that? And I'm like, we just killed it. Don't worry about it. Townspeople are, you got some dead townspeople down there. You might want to send someone to retrieve the bodies, um, what have you. Where is the local leather slash tanning shop? He tell me where to go. So I'm gonna go get this prepped, and y'all have fun. I took back. Of course, I was a good character, so I only took back what I needed, which was my 150 gold. Gave the rest of the gold to the party, got some gold, whatever was extra. I gave for the burial cost. I got a couple cool things. I got a had a ceremony in town for being you know upstanding heroic guy. It was definitely cool. I really enjoyed that game. The next game I was in was Splicers, which will be an ongoing campaign if I have it my way. Um, totally fell in love with the system. It's made by Palladium Books. It's basically a custom Guyver universe. You can pretty much make any type of biotech armor you can think of, down to even the metabolism of how it feeds. So currently, right now, we have a metamorph. The metamorph um, character class or occupational class is the best way to describe it. He morphs into different forms. There's a battle form, there's a fighter form. So it can be anything to a heavy tank type of setup for if the player wants it that way, to a very stealth espionage setup or reconnaissance. So it's a pretty versatile setup. Um, of course, the more morphs you do, the more you shorten your own personal lifespan. So that's kind of the issues that you have with the metamorph. I enjoyed it immensely. So Robert Ogre got that character. Mitchell made a skin job. Basically, these are the equivalent of the juicer version of the juicer's version. Yeah, the skin jobs are the juicer versions from for splicers. So they're addicted to the elixir of life, which then proceeds to um, give them special bonuses and what have you. And they're basically the assassins, the sleuths, the um, investigators at for the houses. The way the game is set, it's very much like each house, similar to Game of Thrones, have their own hierarchy, librarians, and then you have the dreadnought, which is usually you have the head of household, and he's usually in dreadnought armor, and it's it's a dark future. It's pretty the way to describe it is the world has been taken over because basically Nexus, the equivalent of Skynet, released a nanoplague that affected the entire human race and made them have the inability to use any form of technology that had metal in it. So the human race, proceeded to develop bio-organic armor and weaponry to combat the machines. It's a very dark type game, in my opinion, or at least the way I've made it. You can do it any way you want because it's playable, so you can have do it any way you want. Mine is very much a combination of feudal Japan class system with the feel, and I'm trying to portray the feel and look of a H.R. Geiger um, feel. So there's like bioorganic pagodas and building types and very heavily related to war and honor and respect, that type of thing. So the characters, Robert and Mitchell and Dennis, have all enjoyed it. And Dennis' character is a Swarm Lord, which is, if you have not seen the Swarm Lord, you should get a copy of Rifter 51. Chuck Wilton III's work in there is absolutely fabulous. But basically, what it is a bio armor that has insects living in the armor that you send out to attack on your behalf. And it's literally devastating. Think of a bioorganic version of a light bug, but it also lights your way at nighttime. But depending on if in attack mode, the actual light source is plasma and can be used as a plasma grenade. So I mean, it's just all sorts of stuff. Locusts devour metal and then gorge themselves on the metal of the enemy until they explode. Um, and yeah, it's just a very cool, devastating class. Not gonna lie. I got myself a Swarm Lord set up already on level 1 that I haven't introduced yet. Haven't had a chance to play yet. And I also have a Metamorph, which I made, which I said earlier, Robert got. And this overall, I like the game. It's going to have a lot of dark undertones and what have you, but people are enjoying it overall at this point. Let's see what else. We got that. The last game was the Call of Cthulhu game. Um, that I was in. It was based in Tibet, and it was absolutely fabulous. Um, I'm gonna look up real quick what I got this here because I do this off the cuff. Um, I played in, like I say, it was a Call of Cthulhu game based in Tibet. Um, I've been my character was best way to describe it. He was a gangster from New York. My brother, who was also in the game, was um, he was the rich boy. He was the financier. I was the illegitimate son that my father decided to, do bad things. So at that point, he took off and um, took off and got hooked up with my mom, who in turn was a black female, and my brother and half brother was white that got sent off to UK boarding schools all his life. Um, so it was an interesting dynamic. I tend to like to, um, at least for me, I like to be able to relate to my characters. And the hardest thing that I've come across in role playing games at times is ethnic diversity. They've gotten a lot better. I actually got corrected at one point 'cause I said that I had issues with D&D because I just never saw myself in it. And then I looked at Fifth Ed that a friend of mine, Justin, pointed out, and it's gotten 100 times better um, from when I used to back in the early times when I used to mess around with D&D and what have you, and some other role playing games. But with this Call of Cthulhu game, it worked out pretty well because you had the half brother, myself, who was the muscle, who took care of the things that my half brother didn't want to deal with. He was the investigator. Um, he wanted to investigate and explore the treasure hunter. I'm the guy who basically makes sure that I get the stuff taken care of. I get it through customs. I kill or take out or bribe who I need to, and do all the dirty things that my brother didn't want to deal with. So that pretty much took care of that. Now, the guy who was helping me run that channel, run that was in that game that I was playing, his name was skankinspitz. I'm butchered this all to hell, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually list his YouTube channel in here, and I'm going to basically have it driven so y'all can go check out his channel and what have you. So I'm going to do that now and in a bit and have that set up. But yeah, we went through that there and people were going mad. My character was very dark and sinister. He pretty much always meticulously clean his nails with his straight razor, as I will demonstrate. This is my personal straight razor. So basically, you had a character who would just sit here meticulously and clean his nails and what have you. And he would do this all during game. And where he had a conversation with somebody like, oh yeah, yeah, I get your point. So in other words, this is how we're gonna handle things, blah blah blah. And then, he would just continue to clean his nails. And yeah, that was my character. Yeah, I know, frightening. So we continue with this game, and my character has some interaction with other players, and he's like periodically would then, if someone bucked up to him, he would just pull out the street rage and like, so really, so you really think you can just do wherever you want? Or when I was dealing with one of the guys who was the pilot, I'm like, he was like, oh, you can put on that lotion like you're a girl. I'm like, keep in mind, and I'm tapping this style razor on his chest. Keep in mind that once we get back to where we need to, and your service is no longer required, it's going to be a whole different conversation that we're going to have. And you'll get exactly why this is my favorite token from my father. And it went from there. So, yeah. Um, that happened. It's still, there's possibility that the game will continue. Um, I am still in contact with the GM of that game. Um, so, yeah, it was a good game, and that was like my final game for Brigadecon. So, that was a great time. My first time doing it. I will be back at it next year. And yeah, other than that, yeah, it was a great time. First time at Brigadecon. Went off without a hitch. Um, Everybody was very supportive. I had any technical issues with, I did have some issues with some of my players running late. They were right there, it's like encouraged me to continue and whatnot, and cause I almost had a panic attack. I was like, "There's no one here but one player. What am I gonna do?" Ah! But yeah, they showed up, and it was all good. But yeah, the staff was great. I can't wait to next year, and that's pretty much what happened with Brigadecon. Um, they raised over $1,000 for charity, and it was good times. So yeah, that's basically it. I'm going to list the gentleman who ran the Cthulhu game and AJ's channel as well, who ran the D&D game. So yeah, they will be listed in my um, comments below. Go check them out. They got some great videos, great guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye.